What's going on, Canes fam? Now, I know that I said I was going to stream today on the 17th, and I wanted to so bad. I tried to make it work. We streamed for about 20 to 30 minutes before I started having problems with the stream, and unfortunately, it's on YouTube's end, I'm pretty sure. Everything seems to be fine on my end. My computer's fine. My internet's fine. So there was nothing I could do about it to keep it going. And it's really frustrating because I miss hanging out live with you guys. I know the videos are fun and all good, but it's really fun when we can be in a live environment and we can interact live with each other. So what I decided to do is I'm just going to film a video and talk about the expectations and thoughts for this upcoming 2019 spring practice. I'll briefly cover the positions that we already talked about in the live stream because there were a lot of you guys already there, and I'm going to be repeating some of the stuff I already talked about. I haven't really gotten into the offensive line and defensive line yet. Those are just as important. I just haven't got a chance to really go over them just yet. So I want to just get that negativity out of there with the live stream stuff because I want spring practice 2019 for the Miami Hurricanes fans is a big one. It's so exciting, and I want everyone to get pumped up and be excited for it. So let's focus on that part of it. So kicking it off, probably one of the biggest positions coming into spring practice is the quarterbacks. The guys that will be taking reps during spring practice for Miami at the quarterback position are Tate Martell, Jaron Williams, N'Kosi Perry, and Cade Weldon. And yes, you heard that right. Tate Martell will be taking reps with the offense this spring. The NCAA is probably, let's be real, not going to give us an answer before spring practice starts. It'd be really cool if we heard something by maybe Monday afternoon, Monday evening, the day before, but it's highly unlikely. Let's be realistic here. But he will be practicing just like normal, just like he's eligible. Nothing will be any different. He'll be practicing just like normal with everybody else. Now, Matoka, the incoming freshman, he is not enrolling until summer, so he will not be there to practice for spring. Now, the quarterback position is interesting because this new offensive scheme that's going to be implemented, of course, the quarterback is kind of the guy who really needs to soak this in. He's going to be the guy that needs to be knowing, you know, what all the wide receivers are doing, what the running back is supposed to be doing, where the O-line, who this guy's supposed to block, this guy's supposed to block, so he can make all of his reads accordingly. So I really think that for the quarterback position, we're looking for someone that's going to take this new system, really just soak it in and run with it. But you also have to keep in mind that I don't think a clear leader will emerge out of spring practice, just to be honest, because it's a new system. And this is good because everyone's on the same level. Everyone is learning this new system at the same time. But it's going to be the first time these players are learning this new system and really practicing and running through the plays. So I don't think it'll be time that they're not going to name a starter after spring practice is what I'm getting at. So moving on to the running back position for the Canes. This spring practice, we're going to have DJ Dallas, Cameron Davis, Burns, Martin, Realus George, and Lorenzo Lingard. Now, there's a couple of key notes at the running back position. Number one, I realized that I just said Realus George. I know he's more of a fullback, halfback position, but I'm kind of just grouping all these guys together. Also, Lorenzo Lingard will see limited reps most likely during spring practice. He is coming off of that knee surgery from about 6 months ago, so there's no need to re-injure that. We probably want to baby that knee a little bit. So he will probably see limited playtime, limited reps. And also, Asa Martin, he will be practicing just like normal. I don't know if he's going to get to play the 2019 season or not. I don't believe so, but he will be practicing just like normal with the rest of the backs. Good news is overall, we've got a lot of talent at the running back position, and we're going to be pretty stacked for 2019. And next up on the list is the tight ends. Now this, as I mentioned in the live stream, for those of you that were there, is the position probably that I'm most excited for spring 2019. And it's because we've never really utilized the tight ends the way that we should. We have big, strong, physical tight ends with good hands, and I think they should be utilized more. I've been saying it for the 2 years I've had this channel. Go back and look at pretty much every preview I've done. I say we need to use the tight ends more because we've got playmakers at that position. Now, we're going to have 5 scholarship tight ends coming into spring practice this year. We're going to have Brevin Jordan, Will Mallory, Larry Hodges, Michael Irvin Jr., and Brian Palendi. And a couple keynotes for this position as well. Keep in mind that Irvin and Palendi are coming back from surgeries, so their reps and playtime in spring will probably be limited. Now, again, this is a position that I'm really excited for because I think that Dan Enos' system will utilize the tight ends more, and that's going to be huge for us. And next up, we're taking a quick peek at the wide receivers. Now, this position is really interesting because we've got some new faces and we've got some faces that we didn't think were going to be there anymore that are coming back. So at the wide receiver position, we're going to have KJ Osborne, Jeremiah Payton, Jeff Thomas, Mike Harley, Hightower, Pope, Wiggins, and Njoku. Now, I don't know why on some of these players I say their first and last name. Some of them I just say their last name. I guess it's just whatever sounds better as it comes to me. But some keynotes for this position as well. I'm really excited to see what Osborne does in the spring because Manny Diaz has already praised his work ethic and his just athletic ability. So I'm really excited to see what Osborne can do. JT's return is going to be interesting. We have a lot of speed and depth at the wide receiver position. I'd really like to see the catching improve, though. That's something that I'd really like to see over the spring. Now, with that new wide receiver coach that for some reason a lot of people aren't very hyped on. I understand why. I know your reasoning. But there were too many dropped passes, dropped balls last season. I know there are other reasons there for that. Trust me, I know. It's not just the wide receivers themselves, but they need to get better about catching and hanging on to the ball. Now, Cager, of course, transferred out. Ezard transferred out, so those two guys are gone. But we've got plenty of depth, talent at this position, so I'm pretty excited about the wide receivers as well. So let's talk about defense a little bit. How about for starters, we'll talk about the linebackers. Now, the linebackers are all, for the most part, going to be familiar faces coming into spring this season. We're going to have the trio, Quarterman, Pickney, and McLeod, and then we're also going to have Finley and Frierson at that striker position. I think McLeod might be kind of rolling with the striker as well, but these guys have experience, so they should do well this spring. I don't expect the defense to really change up that much. I'm actually pretty sure, given the success over the last few seasons, that it's definitely not going to change up a whole lot. So a lot of familiar faces over there. These guys should have a pretty good spring practice this year. And it's sort of the same for the rest of the secondary. Of course, there are some guys that we lost, some big playmakers at the end of last season, but still a lot of familiar faces. So some names out there that'll be taking reps for the rest of the secondary. You're going to have Trajan Bandy, Amari Carter, Hall, Smith, Knowles, Al Blades Jr., DJ Ivy, and Bethel. And again, there's going to be some guys that I'm missing. I'm trying to just name some of the main guys, the ones and twos out there. So those guys on the secondary, again, not a whole lot is going to be different. I fully expect them to, for the most part, utilize the same type of defense that we ran last year. And as a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and read you a quote from Blake Baker. And this kind of just sums everything up for the defense coming into this spring. He said, quote, "Diaz and I are aligned as you can be. It's about tackles for loss. It's about takeaways. It's about creating chaos and negative plays." So that pretty much sums up our defense for the last 2 seasons. So I fully expect spring practice for the defense to kind of follow that same path. Now, keep in mind that I really haven't had an opportunity to look deep into the O-line and D-line. Don't let that take away from the importance of these positions. It's just as important as every other position on the team. I just haven't had a chance to get familiar with the names and the details on those guys. So if anybody has, feel free to comment down below and fill everyone in. I just really haven't looked into them enough yet to talk about them in this video. And as many of you already know, there are going to be 3 scrimmages this year, which is pretty awesome. One of them, the first one, is not going to be open to the public or media at all, but the second one is going to be Saturday, April 13th at noon in Miami at Travis Powell Stadium, and the next one is going to be Saturday, April 20th, so that'll be the following Saturday after the second scrimmage at noon, and that one will be at Camping World Stadium. So that's a pretty big deal, I think, to go ahead and step foot in the stadium that's going to be our first game against the Gators. I realize, of course, it's not going to be as full as that game's going to be. It's not going to be the exact same feeling. But it's nice to go ahead and be there, because when we go to play the Gators, we've already stepped foot in that stadium, so it's at least a little bit more familiar. And there's a couple of key points that I'd like to make for things that I would really like to see accomplished at spring practice 2019 for the Miami Hurricanes. Number one is to really just establish an identity for this new offense. The offense is going to be completely different than last season, and that can take some time to really take that in and fully learn it and get comfortable with it. So I would really like to see Dan Enos just get an identity for it and just really figure out what we want this offense to be. And spring really provides the first opportunity to start that process. Second, I would really just love to see the coaches pushing the players to compete in every aspect of spring practice. I'm talking down to when they are starting the next set of drills, the players trying to beat each other to the next set of drills. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about competing literally in every aspect of spring practice. I want us to establish the new Miami. We keep saying the new Miami. Well, let's start the new Miami now with spring practices and go ahead and set the tone. This is how we practice now, because there are a lot of guys that have already been here a few years and they're used to practicing a little bit of a different way. This is the new Miami. We're going to practice a different kind of way where we are always competing. And lastly, I really just want to see the players excited. I mean, football is a fun sport, and given the fact that it's very easy to get injured and it's somewhat of a painful sport, you probably play it because you love it, because you enjoy it. So football should be fun. So I want to see guys flying around. I want to see guys laughing and smiling and competing and just having fun again. And like I mentioned, I know there's a lot that I'm missing. I'm really frustrated because I was planning on streaming for 2 or 3 hours. We were going to take phone calls and stuff, and we could have covered it more in depth. This video is probably already 10 or 15 minutes long, and people really, when you do the videos, they don't watch them much longer than that. I'm just being honest. So I'm missing some details and stuff, but we'll continue to talk about it. I mean, spring practice starts in the next day or two, so there'll be videos all throughout spring practice going over stats and things like that. So make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss that. And we'll try to do live streams again at some point. Hopefully YouTube gets their stuff together. And yeah, so I'm really excited. Get pumped up, guys. Come on. Spring practice is almost here. Canes football is back. And it's a little bit of a tease because, you know, we're going to get football for a couple weeks, and it's going to disappear again for a little bit. So it's going to be rough there for a while. But this is a little bit of a tease, a little bit of a look into what we can expect coming into this 2019 season. So remember, guys, we are all one big happy college football family. But at the end of the day, I got to say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out.